Can you give me any specifics about the initiatives that you're already starting to undertake? Because this is a fresh collaboration, right?
Yes, it's very fresh.
Very, very fresh. But I'll just follow up on what Kevin had just mentioned, which was some of the digitalization and the future of advanced manufacturing. We yes, we work in advanced materials and manufacturing process, but a lot of that work that we do here is in the virtual world. We can model and simulate a new material and see how that material reacts to a process to make sure that it's fit for purpose at the end of the day. The materials engineers will call it integrated computational materials engineering, which is what they are working on before we even make anything physically. So to Kevin's point, our facility here in Detroit is a showcase and a sandbox, right? We're showcasing the future of advanced manufacturing. We're able to show those small, medium-sized manufacturers what the future holds for them, including the digital side of things. But we're also sandboxing here every day with our technicians and our engineers are back there working on projects. And we plan on having a satellite facility of this Detroit facility in Florida. We have in the Panhandle region working on that. Nothing is. We're still working on the details of it, but working on developing a satellite facility of our Detroit headquarters. So those small, medium-sized manufacturers will have a place to go, a place to convene and see what the future of advanced manufacturing could look like for them, and again provide some of the expertise with the engineers and staff members that we have in house here.
Is the manufacturers that we're talking about, particularly with this collaboration, are they typically in the aerospace and defense sector?
Most of the folks that we work with are in some way, shape, or form. But again, that runs the gamut from small companies who are working in the virtual space, or maybe just interested in working in aerospace and defense, but they're more core towards materials, to large OEMs who are assembling these vehicles and what the DoD needs. So there's a lot of materials providers, a lot of other service providers, along with machine manufacturers to actually make the materials that we're talking about, along with the OEM. So it really runs the whole spectrum. So it's not only defense and aerospace that we're talking to, but that those have tended to be the industries that we end up pushing technology towards.
So as a leader in this initiative, what final message or advice would you like to share with the mechanical and design engineers in Florida about embracing innovation and manufacturing?
COVID shone a light on supply chain. I think it shone a light on manufacturing. And, to the point of your question, manufacturing is how you bring innovation to the marketplace. So if I'm a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer, I think they were the two that you named, I need to become much more sort of manufacturing savvy, even though I probably went to school dreaming about the design world. How we bring that to the marketplace is really a challenge that gets played out and often competed based on our ability to produce an idea that one of those manufacturing or one of those mechanical or electrical engineers have. So I know I'm a double E by degree, and I think when they were training me, there was no notion in any of those classrooms that I would ever be getting near a factory. It was all about designing these great things that I could throw over a wall to somebody else, in some dirty, dingy world that would produce this part. So I think that's gone away. You have to kind of understand how your idea begins, not only in your mind and on your paper, but how you translate that innovation into a produced good, if you will, into the marketplace. So I think that's a given now. I haven't been in school in a very long time, and I don't know if they're addressing things that way, but I can tell you some of the top colleges across the school think that way. That's the attention I would say. If you're a mechanical engineer, spend some time. I had a nephew who did an internship at a company that I work closely with in Florida, and I kept telling the people, put him on the floor, put him on the floor, make sure he's on the floor. And you know, he would stare up at the mezzanine where all the engineers were behind computers, and he's down there loading a machine somewhere. But you know, that's the guy who's going to start a company someday, the person that understands that whole system, not just the theory, but the actualization of a product to market.
And just to follow up, sorry, just to follow up on that, that's such an important point. And one thing we didn't talk about from this perspective is that we have a program called Operation Next, which provides certification training opportunities for veterans, National Guard and Reserve members, active military members right before they separate, military spouses, and civilians. And this is funded through the Florida State Legislature, along with some other places around the country, but this is specifically to Florida, because we need those folks. This is providing certification opportunities in welding, CNC machining, robotics, and industrial technology maintenance, to have those multi-skilled technicians on the floor. We love our engineers, we need our engineers, but we also need those folks on the floor who can operate these machines and repair these machines and understand these machines to keep everything moving and to actually produce the things. So when things do get thrown over the fence from the engineers, hopefully they're working in concert. But if they're not, if things get thrown over the fence, they can actually produce them via welding or CNC machining or whatever happens to be. We desperately need more of those folks across the nation. So I want to give a shout out to the state of Florida for helping us with that activity in the state of Florida. The 5 community colleges and technical schools we're working with across the state right now to deploy it, and we're looking forward to expanding that across the state as we go forward. So a key point I wanted to bring up.
Great point. For sure. Well, thank you both so much for being here. Unfortunately, we're out of time. And again, Kevin Carr with Florida Makes, Joe Steele with Lift. Thank you so much. I am Sharon Spielman with Machine Design. Until next time, stay curious.